Hello, hello. I'm back. I don't know if it's been too soon or not, but I've been thinking about this since I watched it and had this epiphany, and so we're just gonna talk about it. It's sort of a blog, sort of a review of TV shows combined together. Why not? Oh, what if Carrie Bradshaw and Emily Cooper met and became friends? What do you think about that? So, I just recently, well, first of all, avid Emily in Paris watcher. Love that show. I don't know if it's too young for me as a 54-year-old woman, but it just encompasses so much of friendships and unique fashion choices and putting yourself in a vulnerable situation and kicking ass, I guess, and so many more things. But anyway, so thinking about that and finding something to watch in between seasons is difficult. So somehow I was gonna say on Facebook, no, Netflix, Sex and the City came up. And I'm like, and there's a whole, is it Sex in the City or Sex and the City? And technically it's Sex and the City, but also if you like puns, Sex in the City works as well. So anyway, I guess I don't know if that's a pun or not, but here we are. I digress. So this is it's kind of a, well, I'll get into the both, I give them both 5 stars. I feel like Sex and the City is a little more naked. It makes me feel like that's my age group kind of thing, where Emily in Paris could almost be for younger people, like maybe early teens, something like that, that may or may not have had sex yet. I'm not sure. But there are some wide open scenes in Sex and the City. So basically, I guess the Sex and the City is like a 90s version, rated R version of Emily in Paris, sort of. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to read this because I don't know what I'm trying to do. Except if you haven't watched it in a while or have never watched it, like myself, I don't know why, never watched it from episode 1, season 1, all the way to the last episode of, I believe, season 6. I was watching something else with several seasons, so I might have those two mixed up. But I believe there's 6 seasons of Sex and the City. Say that 6 times fast. Okay, I'm just going to read this. I'm going to read it. So, Sex and the City and Emily in Paris review. This is my outline. So, right now, I have in bold, it says hook, which is what if Carrie, which I already read to you. What if Carrie met Emily Cooper? What if Carrie Bradshaw met Emily Cooper and they became friends? Would they instantly become best friends, or would they spend an entire brunch politely judging each other's life choices? Now, Emily, I feel like what would be polite and go ask maybe Mindy about it. I think Carrie would gently say whatever was on her mind, or maybe ask a few questions leading into something. So that's my guess. But the more and more I got into the seasons of Sex and the City, the more I realized it felt like an older, wiser sister of Emily in Paris. Different cities, although Carrie did go to Paris a couple of times. Just saying. Different generations, same fascination with friendship, fashion, careers, and trying to figure out love. So Sex and the City is Carrie Bradshaw's little column that she writes in the newspaper. Now, Emily Cooper, while she's in advertising, so wait, let's go back. Carrie Bradshaw, somewhere in the middle of the seasons, she also starts to write freelance for Vogue. Emily Cooper does advertising in like magazines and commercials and things like this. She also kind of does her own posting, sort of like a column, but she's influencing on social media. So she spends a lot of time posting and writing about this kind of stuff. So at first glance, these shows seem completely different. One is in New York in the 90s and early 2000s. The other is modern day Paris underneath the designer shoes. They're asking many of the same questions. So, but even to me, like Carrie Bradshaw and Emily Cooper dress very similar, but within their 90s, 2000s, and current present day outfits. They dress outside the lines, which I love. That being said, so these are the questions that I was feeling like they were feeling, and maybe even asking out loud. I'm not sure where I got these questions besides maybe them or in my head. Who are we when we're single? So like sometimes I forget who it was. With Carrie, I forget who she was dating where it was the artist. She was dating the artist and her friends are like, you're not even you anymore. So you become, sometimes you change in order to mesh with whoever you're dating at the time, which I think is true. And I think you can make it all depends on what you're willing to change yourself. Don't have somebody else ask you to change. But if you are like, ooh, I'm going to try this for a while, then sure, have at it. Can women really have it all? So like Emily finds herself a lot of times struggling between two guys that she really likes that are totally different. And she's in this decision making and she ends up kind of trying to do a little more delving into each of them and sort of dating two people at the same time. And so sometimes that kind of having it all doesn't seem to work out. And sometimes even the other type. So Miranda is trying to juggle dating, being a partner at a law firm, and being a mother. And sometimes that didn't work out either. So they both shows tend to try to see if they can have all the things. And a lot of times it didn't work, but sometimes it did. And how much of our identity comes from our careers? Well, as a hairdresser, I've had to veer off of my previous trajectory, which was I don't even know what it was before then. That was what I did right when I got out of high school. So I don't know, but I know for a while I did pet sitting, and that felt more comfortable for me because I could just wear clothes that were comfortable, not necessarily flattering, but that was me. That was how I am. This is me. I didn't mean to dress like this, but this is how hat, braids, not really. I don't wear braids that often. I needed a different hair pattern because do you ever wear a ponytail too long and it gives you a headache? So that's where I'm at. So here's my braids. My point being is when I was working in a salon, I had to wear a full face of makeup, had my hair done, perfected, and I guess that's not, I felt like I was dressing up and playing a part. So I lost my identity a little bit. Also, becoming a mother and delving into that, I allowed that to, I was happy to be Justin and Richie's mom for so long, where I think I lost the big picture of that, where I could be Rachel and Justin and Richie's mom, Rich's wife. I felt like I lost some of myself for a little while in there, and then got back, and it was all good. Like it worked. I just had to like go, wait a minute, I can do all these things. I can alternate between it all and still have a little bit of myself in there. Let's see. Why do we keep falling for the wrong people? I did have a bout of that too, and I learned a lot. And I think that's it. You learn your likes and your dislikes, and you need to be honest with yourself and not waste anyone else's time either. So I'll say that about that. And both of these shows take you through some of the mistakes, the common mistakes, the struggles, and the successes of how to handle these things. And why are our girlfriends sometimes the greatest love story of all? I think that goes for guys too. I think guys have some really close buddies of theirs that they can bounce ideas off of. And sometimes when you're in a relationship, you are too close. You need to back up and get a broader focus of things. And frankly, I don't think guys want to talk about girl stuff all the time because it can be gross, just like girls feel the same way. So if you have there are certain things it's easier to talk to your girlfriends about, and vice versa with guys. So I think that's it. And I think having a few close friends, that is the greatest gift that you can have throughout your life, is to keep those close friends with you. The friends that you can forget to call here and there, and you can pick right back up. Friends that forgive easily, just like our spouses do. There are certain friends that are willing to do this, and there are certain friends that are not. And that goes by a friend basis too, just like it does with, like, what are you willing to overlook with your life partner? Same thing with your friends. I don't know why I'm talking about all this. Anyway, so let's get into some of the fun things of these two shows, because both are great. I don't even know which one you should watch first. You could probably kind of watch both at the same time and do your own comparison. I think that would be great. So let's get into it. So Carrie and Emily. So Carrie and Emily would absolutely spend an afternoon wandering boutiques, shopping for coffee, and overthinking every text message they've received. Carrie would probably tell Emily to stop chasing unavailable men, and Emily would encourage Carrie to take more risks. Both women are hopeless romantics who somehow always believe that the next chapter might be the one that finally makes everything make sense. So Carrie can sometimes be a little bit closed off, more protective of her heart, but willing eventually to get out there. And then Emily is super curious and wants to get out there. Like I said, she's testing out multiple samples of things. So she's out there and she's willing to do that and then weave into having a larger relationship with the person she ends up choosing. Carrie tends to be a little bit more closed off and has very specific people she likes and ends up enduring a lot to give them another chance. Okay. Samantha and Mindy. So these are the best friends. So Samantha is one of Carrie's best friends, and Mindy is Emily's best friend. They're both extremely confident, funny, unapologetic, and fiercely loyal. They would probably be the first ones on the dance floor and the last ones to leave, except for Samantha, who would definitely find a man on the dance floor and go into a bathroom and have sex with him. So other than that, still the last one to leave, but not to leave the dance floor. And her friends know this about her and still love her. Okay, Miranda and Sylvie. So Miranda is another one of Carrie Bradshaw's best friends, and Sylvie is Emily's boss, who pretends she doesn't like Emily, but she really does. So they're both intelligent. They're extremely career focused, very direct to a point of being rude, and not interested in nonsense. And they will call you out over the tiniest little bit of it. They would respect each other, I think, immediately, even if they never admitted it. Now, I could see Miranda conceding and admitting it way sooner than Sylvie. Sylvie would die on that soapbox for sure. Okay, Charlotte. I don't have anyone to pair off with Charlotte, because Charlotte would try to keep everyone together, believing in love and hosting brunch after all the drama settled down. And she just has this positive look on everything. She's very pure-hearted. So the final take, if Emily in Paris is about discovering yourself in a brand new city, which is what she says, and then Sex in the City is about discovering yourself over the years of friendship, heartbreaks, career changes, and growing older. So one sparkles, the other reflects. And honestly, I think that's why both continue to resonate with audiences, because they're still about these close connections that we have with each other and all the ways we navigate life and the support we need to do so. So no matter the city, we're all just trying to figure it out. And just like that, if you know, you know, you realize that the best stories were never really about the romance. They were about the people we became along the way. And that's it. So, yes, both shows worth watching again if you've watched them already. Like, once Emily in Paris, the final season comes out, I will probably, once I know, I got to go on and see if they have a date yet. But I think I'm going to watch from season 1 and take it all the way through, like I just did with Sex and the City. So there's a bunch of seasons of Sex and the City. Then there's the movie, and it kind of, they give you a little recap at the beginning of the movie, and then it kind of continues on from the last season. So definitely check out the movies. And then the next movie after that continues from there. And then I can't remember if there's 1 or 2 seasons, but then they have a show called And Just Like That with them all later. So lots to watch on that one. That one's a great, complete, although they did leave us a little bit hanging, and I'm really hoping they have another season, but I'm feeling like they're not going to, but maybe they will, hopefully. Anyway, that's it. I can try to put links down in the show notes for the shows, but if not, you can find Emily in Paris is on Netflix, Sex and the City is on Netflix, but the movies of Sex and the City and Just Like That, I believe, are on Amazon Prime. But I will definitely write down, at least if I can't link, I will write down where they are. I encourage you to go watch those and report back. All right, you guys have a great day. I'll see you later.